There was a moment when you stopped searching, not completely, not consciously, but slowly. You stopped choosing what to look for, and something else started choosing for you. What you see, what you read, what you watch, what you think about next. And the strange part is, it feels completely normal. I'm Ilya Lyman, and here we explore the AI economy, not through hype, not through fear, but through what is actually changing. And today I want to explore something that is already happening, but most people don't fully see it yet: the end of search. Not because search disappears, but because something replaces it. Something more subtle, more powerful, and more invisible. Because we are moving from a world where you search for information to a world where information comes to you before you even ask. So for a long time, if we go back in time, the internet worked in a simple way. You had a question, you type it, you searched, and you received results. That process gave you a sense of control. You decide what to look for. You initiated the action. You felt like you were in charge. Even when recommendations appeared basically, you still felt like you were choosing because you could ignore them, so to speak. You could, search something else. You could decide. Now something changes. You open your phone, and instead of asking a question, you see something, a video, a post, an idea, and you don't search for it, but it's relevant, almost perfectly relevant. So you engage, you watch, you read, you continue, and before you realize it, you are no longer searching, you are following. Now let's slow this down. What changed? Not your intention, obviously, but the system around you. Because instead of watching, basically waiting for your input, the system anticipates what's going on. It predicts what you might want, what you might need, what basically might capture your attention, and it presents it at the right moment. Now, at first, this feels like convenience, less effort, less friction, faster access. You don't need to think about what you search, you don't need to formulate questions. Everything just appears, and that feels efficient. But something deeper is happening because when you stop searching, you stop initiating. And when you stop initiating, you start following the path that is presented. Now, this path is not random. It is basically shaped based on your past behavior, your preferences, your patterns. And over time, it becomes very accurate. So accurate that it feels natural, as if you as if you chose it, but the choice was already structured. You see? Now think about this carefully. Before you explored the internet, now the internet explores you. It learns, adapts, refines, and then it builds an environment around you. An environment that feels personalized, but it also selective. Because what you see is only a small part of what exists. And what you don't see is just as important. Now, this changes something fundamental. Your relationship with information basically. Because information is no longer something you seek. It is something that finds you. And that creates a new dynamic. Your world becomes curated not by you, but by a system that understands you. Now let's connect this to behavior. When you search, you define direction, obviously. When you are guided, the direction is suggested. And over time, suggestion becomes habit. You open, you scroll, you engage without questioning where it comes from and or why it actually appears. Now, this does not mean you lose control, obviously not, but it means control becomes subtle, less visible, because you still choose, but within a predefined set of options. Now, think about how this evolves. As AI becomes more advanced, it doesn't just recommend content. It understands context, your mood, your timing, your intent. It predicts what you need before you express it. So the system becomes proactive, not reactive. And this is where search begins to disappear. Not as a function, but as a behavior. Because because you don't need to search. When everything arrives at the right moment, basically at the door, nothing pretty much actually motivates you to search. Now let's step back a little bit more. This is not just about content. This applies to everything: shopping, learning, working. Instead of searching for products, they are suggested. Instead of searching for knowledge, it is presented. Instead of searching for solutions, they are generated basically. And this creates something new, an AI guided reality where your experience is continuously shaped. Now, here's the important part: this reality is not neutral. It is optimized for engagement, for relevance, for response. And that shapes behavior because you are exposed to certain ideas, certain options, certain perspectives more often than others. And over time, that influences how you think. Now, let's connect this to the economy itself. The economy is driven by attention. What people see, what people consider, what people choose. If attention is guided, decisions are influenced. And if decisions are influenced, markets are shaped. Now, you see, companies don't just compete for visibility. They compete to be selected for this by the system itself. To kind of appear that, to appear in that curated layer, so to speak. Because if you are not presented, you are invisible. Now, think what this means. Basically the power itself shifts from those who create options to those who control selection. Now, this creates a new type of environment, one where visibility is not equal, not because of access, not because of, but because basically of filtering itself. Now, here's where things split again. Some people become aware of this, they question, they step outside, they search intentionally. Others remain inside the floor. They follow, they accept what appears. And that creates two experiences of reality: one curated and one intentional. And the difference between them grows over time. Now, let's bring everything together again. We are moving from a world of search to a world of suggestion, from active discovery to guided experiences. And this changes how people interact with reality, not by removing choice, but by shaping what is available to choose. So, this is not, as you can see, this is not about search disappearing. It's about something replacing it, a system that understands you, anticipates you, guides you, and builds an environment around you. And in that environment, you don't feel controlled, you feel understood. But the real question is not, is the system accurate? The real question is, are you aware of it? Because awareness is what allows you to step back, basically, to question, to choose intentionally. And in a world where everything is presented to you, that might become one of the most important skills. Now, if this got you thinking, please drop a comment. I read everything. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next one.